Welcome to Yankee Chronicle. I'm your host, Abby Peel, and this is our second week at Belletetes Building Specialists here in Andover, where their mission is to be a premier building materials company, offering quality products at a fair price while providing excellent customer service and enriching the lives of their employees. Today, we're back here at the Andover Belletetes Building Product facility. Andover's Lindsey Schust will introduce us to her new music album, Country Way. Blachly and Kristen Nesbitt will join us to tell you about a fun but necessary fundraiser for Ukraine. We will revisit a piece we did about the Warner Mural with Charlie Albano. And we'll wrap up our 2 weeks here with John Howe, the hardware manager here at Belletetes, to learn about their Build It Forward program. But first, a few words from one of the underwriters that make your Yankee Chronicle possible. Please stay with us.
NCTV programs are underwritten in part by H.R. Clough and Kearsarge Heating Oil, Propane, and Motor Fuels, with design, installation, service, and maintenance of all types of energy systems, as well as air conditioning, water conditioning, and backup generators. Their friendly, highly trained, and certified staff is available to assist you throughout the process. H.R. Clough and Kearsarge Heating. Echo Communications, a digitally integrated commercial printer and mailer in New London since 1997, and much further back as the Country Press, AccuMail, and the home of the Kearsarge shopper. Echo Communications. LaValle Building Supply, serving homeowners and contractors since 1962. Whether you're an experienced builder or simply a do-it-yourselfer, you'll find what you need at LaValle Building Supply. Barton Insurance Agency provides local access to all your business and personal insurance needs, from auto, home, life, to business liability and related needs. Experience the hometown difference of Barton Insurance Agency. Baba's Bar and Grill on Newberry Harbor, for great land fare, seafood, sandwiches, and Baba's award-winning chowder. You won't be disappointed. They're having a lot of fun at Baba's Bar and Grill. The Innertown Record, your weekly hometown newspaper covering the Kearsarge, Sunapee, and Sunshine region of New Hampshire. Online and in print, the Innertown Record. Main Street Bookends in Warner, an independent bookstore providing books, toys, games, cards, and gifts. With a gallery showcasing local arts and artists, Main Street Bookends in Warner. And North Cape Design Build. Thank all our underwriters for making your local programming possible on NCTV.
Welcome back to Yankee Chronicle. I'm Abby Peel, your host. We have so many talented artists in our area. A musician that was born and raised in Andover and returned after getting her master's degree is Lindsey Schust. Let's hear about her and her project. Welcome back to Yankee Chronicle. I'm Abby Peel, your host. We have so many talented artists in our area. A musician that was born and raised in Andover and returned after getting her master's degree is Lindsey Schust. Let's hear about her and her project.
Well, the album started with one song, and it was a song that I wrote about Hippie Hill in Danbury, which used to be a very popular local hangout, especially for bikers and veterans and local people. And I was inspired to write a song about it.
Everyone's afraid to go up on Hippie Hill, you know, the last vestige of freedom in this town.
And it had to be a country song because country songs are the best for telling stories. And previously I've written mostly Afro-Cuban salsa music, so this is like a new genre for me, although I grew up with country music living in New Hampshire. I think the local area, the community, the people around here have played a huge part in this album and in the songwriting. For example, Country Way, with the title track, was inspired by a friend of ours, Smokey Joe, who used to live in Alexandria. He's passed away now, but he took me for a ride in this like old Chevy hot rod, 1931 hot rod, and I was just in this car, and I took a little film with my camera, and I was like, this has to be a song, you know.
Riding down that old country road in a 31 Chevy with Smokey Joe. He shows me where the road is still leading. We follow the river in the summer breeze. The wheels are rolling and the engine burns and the floor's rattling with every turn. It's a two-seater, but it's quite a car. We can ride for miles without going that far.
That's like so New England, these old cars going through the woods or on the old roads and new roads. So that came directly from friends and from the area living here. And then the rest of the album, it includes a lot of local musicians, including my own band, which is the Ragged Mountain Band, which is like family and friends. It's got my mom, Grace Schust, Jim Schust, my dad, my uncle Robert Grassmere, and Paul Currier and Jim McConnell. And then I had some guests like the fiddler, you know, Jordan Terrell Wasaki, who's a master fiddler who is based in New Hampshire. He has his own trio, and he's fantastic. And we worked together at the Concord Community Music School, so I was lucky enough to get him to play on a couple tracks. And he even had to do it remotely because a lot of the album was mixed during the COVID shutdown, you know, locked in time. During COVID, we did a lot of the mixing. So much of the stuff people had to do at their own house and send it to my producer, and then he did it, mixed it together there. So there was a lot of community involvement in it. So not only inspiration, but a lot of the community got involved in the project, and I always get people to join my videos if they can, music videos like the Hippie Hill video. The whole town of Danbury pretty much showed up. And the Country Way video, I got a lot of footage of people, friends, farms and their animals over in Danbury. And then the newest video, which is Sugar Shock, I got permission from Naughty Nellies in Andover to do some footage there and eat some of their delicious ice cream and for the video. And also I did a scene in the Danbury Country Store, who let me do that, and they were so relaxed about it. It was great. I have a background in music. I studied classical music in college and grad school, and I've been playing piano since I was little, and I also grew up with African drums. I have one over here. My mom started studying African drumming with this master drummer from Nigeria, Baba Olatunji. And so I grew up surrounded by like African percussion and drums, and she'd bring some teachers here and they would be playing at our house and doing concerts. So I had this sort of influence of African music and Afro-Caribbean music, as well as like learning classical piano. So my newest project is another melding of styles, and this one is on an international level, and I'm really excited about it. I have a really good friend, Papi Sani Jabate, who is a master drummer and a master guitarist who lives in West Africa in Mali, in the country of Mali, in the capital city of Bamako. And what we're doing is a collaboration where he's recording songs there and I'm recording my part here, and we're also co-songwriting. So I'm writing things in English, he's writing stuff in his native language, which is called Bambara. And I think that for me, it's a wonderful challenge to learn these new styles. Mali has a big culture of music, so many different styles. Is mind-blowing, and he's just a fantastic guitarist, musician, and I've known him since high school, so through the drums. So that's what's coming down the road. We're going to do a music video, and I'm going to film here in the snow with some friends, and they sent me some African dresses to wear. And so it's very exciting, and I do hope to share that with the community and kind of get people involved, because it's pretty exciting. So that's coming up next. If anyone wants to hear the newest album, Country Way, I have actual physical CDs of it, because up here, you know, there's still a lot of us still use CD players, myself included. And it's also online on the music streaming services. So it's on all the major platforms. So you would type in my name or Country Way, and it would be on Apple Music and Amazon. It's even on YouTube. And I have a YouTube channel that has a lot of our music videos on it also. And in the summertime, I play with my band in the local area at like the Wilmette Bandstand and the Wilmette Farmers Market sometimes, and Danbury Grange Fair, local events, which I think is wonderful that we have all that music in our area. We didn't have that when I was growing up here, because I went to school here, I grew up here. We didn't have as much music as we do now, so I feel like so lucky for the kids and the people who live here to have that. You know, it's mostly in the summer. There's some stuff during the year too, but I just think it's something that I really appreciate it.
Sweet and unique sounds. Thanks, Lindsey. When we return, we'll hear about a very fun fundraiser for victims of the war in Ukraine. But first, these words from the good folks that make our communities the great places they are, the businesses that support us, and the organizations you know and love. Welcome back to your Yankee Chronicle. I'm your host, Abby Peel. It's been over a year since Russia invaded the sovereign region of Ukraine. Over 1.5 million refugees have been taken in by Poland alone, while most residents have stuck it out. Let's now hear about a fundraiser that takes place April 1st to provide funds for those that have a need in Ukraine. Hi, ladies.
I have a friend, Natalia, who's Ukrainian, who's been doing a number of fundraisers, and she had asked if I could participate in one of her fundraisers, and I was unable to do that. However, I did feel like I wanted to do something. So I began to search out a place to have this fundraiser, and it's coming to fruition at the Unitarian Universalist Church in Concord, April 1st, and it's going to be a huge event that I'm really excited about.
Val and I have been friends for quite a number of years, and in 2012, 2013, I served as a Peace Corps volunteer in Ukraine, and I was trained in Chernihiv, which is in the northeast, and then I lived in Zhytomyr, Ukraine, and worked as a teaching volunteer for TEFL, and also a teacher trainer. Ukraine is definitely a developing democracy, and they have worked since the 90s to be part of the EU, and they have been moving in the direction of opening up the country democratically.
The event is happening April 1st. It's a Saturday night in Concord at the Unitarian Universalist Church from 5:30 to 9. There will be a dinner to begin with from 5:30 to 7, and that will be an authentic Ukrainian dinner that will be served by Ukrainians. And there will be 2 Ukrainian brothers that will be playing accordions during music. Or you can also come for the dinner and then again for the concert, which is going to happen 7 to 9. And that involves 3 different musical groups. There'll be Northern Lights, which was a vocal, 13-piece women's vocal ensemble from Concord Music School. And then a group called the Holy Rollers, who are involved with the church, and they'll be playing bluegrass and old-timey folk-type music. And then my group, my new group that I've just formed called Hot Skillet Club is going to be performing Western swing and some other old swing music. In between the bands, we have some interesting things going on. There will be one Ukrainian folk singer who is going to sing a couple of songs, and then he's going to tell his story of his journey here from the Ukraine, and there'll be a translator there for him. All the proceeds will be going to the Sunflower Network, which is a big organization. I believe there's one in Boston and there's another one in California. And the money will be filtered into the church, and then it will go from the church to them, and then they distribute the money where they see it's where the needs are. If they want more information, there's going to be a lot of advertising going on, or they can contact me at gmail.com. But there'll be a QR code on the poster, and we're hoping that people will prepay because there's limited seating for the dinner, and that we will allow some walk-ins if there's extra space. So.
Thank you for the work that you are doing to pull this event together, and what a great way to support those in need. When we return, we'll revisit a site in Warner of the mural that tells the history of the wonderful town. First, a word from another one of our underwriters. Please stay with us. Welcome back to your Yankee Chronicle. I'm Abby Peel. A couple years ago, the town of Warner embarked on an effort to tell the town's history for locals and visitors alike. Tell us about it, Charlie.
About a year and a half ago, the Warner Economic Development Committee thought it would be a good idea in a way to stimulate the local economy to create a mural on a vacant wall in Warner. So after we talked to the owners of the building, Bob Egan and Rhonda Rood, they absolutely agreed that it would be a great project. The theme of the mural was Warner's 250th anniversary, which comes in 2024. So the eventual winner, Jill Bitbender from Manchester, was awarded the grant, if you will. And what she did, the reason that she won, was she came to Warner. She went to the Historical Society. She talked to a number of local residents about what is Warner. And with those old photographs that she reviewed and pictures that she was given, she created the mural behind us. So with that, the whole process was about a year and a half. I wrote a grant to the New Hampshire Arts Council for $3,700. The rest of the money was raised locally. Local businesses, the Fall Foliage Festival. There are 22 panels that Jill worked on separately in her studio in Manchester. And if you take a look from the top left, you can see the theater in back of bookends. The mural is then divided between a darker shade and the brighter shades, the darker shades actually representing history. And so you can see the mill. There were two mills back in at least 1974 when I moved here, and that represents the mill workers. You then continue to the right, and again in the darker gray, you can see a representation of Native Americans who did live in Warner. Continue to the right panel, that's Mount Kearsarge and fall foliage colors. You can then see next to the Mount Kearsarge, there's skiers. In back of me, there's the Mink Hills. And the Mink Hills back post-World War II, there was a snow train that came up from Boston, and people from Boston would get off the train and ski in the Mink Hills. So it was a rope tow that actually I skied on back in 1974. and many of the kids locally grew up on that slope. Continuing more to the right, there's hikers on Mount Kearsarge, and the railroad station. Warner had at least 2, and that depicts one of the railroad stations in Warner. Back down here to the lower left is the telephone museum, and Warner had a telephone company, one of the first in New Hampshire, and if you go down Main Street, you can go to the museum, the telephone museum. The next panel is the Warner Market, and as you know, Warner has multiple organic farms here in town, and that represents some of the local farmers and artisans. Continue to the right, Jill reviewed a number of pictures, and she pulled out houses. Those aren't necessarily exactly where they are, but represents the type of homes and houses that did and do exist in Warner. Sheep, the sheep farm, Warner, like many rural New Hampshire communities, had sheep farms. Continuing to the right, you can see the oxen, which was activity here in town for both farming and other functions. And you can continue to the right, the maple syrup producers, and both old and new. So again, a blending of the old and new. You have, again, in the gray, representing the history, and the currently Warner is very famous for its good maple syrup. Continuing to the right, you'll see a covered bridge and the Warner River, and you'll see in the shadows there, maybe not very well, but a Native American fishing the Warner River, as well as father and son. Just coming back here again, there is, in this picture, you can see a weaver who made the baskets, who's a black gentleman from Warner, and again, part of our history. The reason, other than Warner's 250th anniversary, is to stimulate the local downtown.
Thank you, Charlie, and to all those that made this possible. When your Yankee Chronicle returns, I'll be joined by John Howe, Belletetes hardware manager, for an update on their Build It Forward program coming up this fall. But first, let's highlight another community-minded business that supports your Yankee Chronicle. Welcome back to Yankee Chronicle. I'm your host, Abby Peel, coming to you from Belletetes here in Andover, and they're celebrating 125 years in business. Very exciting for all of them. And I'm now joined by no stranger to YCN, John Howe. Hi, John.
How we doing?
Great to see you, as always. It's always fun to talk to you every year that we come here to Belletetes. And we're talking specifically this time about Build It Forward, which is a really amazing thing that you guys have created here. Tell us about it.
Great program, started back in 2011 at the Andover location, and Belletetes has expanded it to the other stores as well.
Fantastic.
So what it is a project that we try to accomplish all in one day.
Okay.
So we build it forward. We're giving back to the community for people that may have an issue with anything from needing a deck replaced to roof repaired, to painting a house. We've
wow.
done. We need the volunteers to go along with that. So Belletetes will donates all the materials for the project. Wow. And then we have contractors that get involved with it. Depends on the project itself and how involved it is. A lot of volunteers from the stores all get involved with it, and we go and do everything from stack wood.
Okay.
For people that maybe get a load of lumber and they need that's their only source of heat for the winter time. So we'll go bring it in, and that gets a lot of people involved, and you don't have to have too many skills to be able to pick that up. Just
that's good for everybody.
For sure.
Right.
But we have over the years, I think it's 120 some odd projects that we've done in the local communities, and before COVID, we were going to 3 stores every year. So it would alternate with 3
Which stores?
So we
Got
do
it.
it in central locations, and they all get involved with it.
Yep.
So here in Andover, we'd have Andover and Sunapee
Yep.
location, and then possibly Pembroke would be involved with us as well.
Okay.
And then we'd reach out. And what we're looking for is people to nominate somebody that may need some help.
Yeah, that's
And we have a
important.
website set up for this.
Okay.
You go in and you can sign up to help, nominate some people that may need some help. And it can be just about any project on there. Some projects we have to look at the day before with
Sure.
the contractor just to make sure there isn't any underlying things if we're replacing something and maybe rotted out or whatever.
Right.
We may need to tear it all apart and then really know what we're getting ourselves involved with. But it takes a full day of work there. And as I said before, handicap ramps are one of the things that we have put a lot of
Specialize in, yeah.
I remember doing a project probably about 10 years ago down in Sutton. There was an older couple that the gentleman and his wife that lived there, she couldn't get out of the house on her own. And he was too old and frail really to help her out.
Sure.
And we spent the day putting the handicap ramp together and everything, got it all set up in front of the house. And as we're cleaning up at the end of the day, the door opens to the front of the house and she comes out with her walker.
Yep.
Works her way down the handicap ramp and gets out and across the little bit of lawn they had in front of the house and goes to the mailbox, and she just turned around and said, "I just want to thank you guys very much. This is the first time I've been out to get the mail in 2 years."
Wow, what a difference.
So I mean, that's why we do that.
For
kind of
sure.
thing. And that's, part of getting community together, giving back to the community.
Sure.
It's also a lot of fun.
It is.
You get a group of people that may see each other on a professional basis, on a day-to-day basis.
Right.
Whether it be contractors or employees with customers and that kind of thing. But
Right.
we're all kind of working together for one goal.
This also sounds like a great opportunity to nominate your neighbor. If you know of somebody that needs help in town but maybe doesn't want to nominate themselves, someone could go on to your website and nominate themselves, which is
And this is
crucial.
all happening September 30th, so
Right,
it's
there's
a
some
ways
time.
out,
Right.
which is a Saturday.
Right, and people might discover things as we dig out from winter, things start to thaw out and
So the
need help.
big difference this year, because of COVID, we haven't done too much with it in the last couple of years, getting lots of people together.
Sure.
So part of our 125th anniversary and relaunching this after a couple of years, we're going to be doing it basically at every store location this year.
Amazing.
So a couple of smaller satellite stores, Sunapee will do it with us, Molten Borough will do it with the Pembroke stores, but Ashland and Peterborough and Jaffrey and Winchendon and
Oh, that's
Nashua
fantastic.
will all have their own projects going on.
A perfect way to celebrate 125.
Yep.
And we should mention, too, that it's not just for Belletetes employees. If you're watching and want to volunteer to go online.
I mean, we need as many people as possible because we can't let all the employees go.
Yes, and you don't want to say no to any project. So, right. So.
I mean, the projects, they have to be something that we can pretty much conceptually accomplish in one day.
Sure.
It may take a lot of prep work to get there beforehand, but
Right.
the goal is to have the supplies delivered and ready to go, and then you have enough people volunteer.
Right.
I mean, just think of painting a house in one day.
Right.
It can be done.
It's a lot of work,
It can be done.
though.
You just need a lot of people to do it.
So Saturday, September 30th, check it out online. John Howe, always great to chat with you, and thanks for all you're doing for this.
Oh, you're welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
At Belletetes, what matters most is having the right products at the right prices and the most highly trained people to provide their services and make you a satisfied customer. Check out their website to learn more. I'd like to thank them for hosting us these last 2 weeks. And don't forget, they have one of 9 locations in Sunapee also. Join us again next week at this same time for another edition of your Who, What, Where, and When show of the Dartmouth Lake Sunapee region. Don't miss our Game of the Week, second season, as we revisit our games from the past year. Our next game is the fall football matchup of Kearsarge and Stevens. I'm Abby Peel. Join us next week at this same time for another Yankee Chronicle. Stay safe, everyone.